gift of inner success. Daily invitations. Today's invitation is a strange one. Chapter 4, Knowing Nothing. That's interesting, isn't it? We spend a whole life trying to learn everything. Learning this, that, maths, English, whatever language, algebra, science, humanities. And what do we really know of these things? And what do we really practice of these things? What is it that we really know? What is it that we assume? Knowing nothing. You think that knowing everything will somehow make your life richer. Has that been your experience? How much do you know of yourself? How much do you know of yourself? Are you a stranger to yourself? Are you fighting yourself? What's the value of learning about every subject under the sun and knowing nothing of yourself? Knowing nothing of your true self? Before, beyond, between the story. So I'm going to read Knowing Nothing, and I want you to sit with this, see what it's telling you, how it chimes with you. Knowing Nothing. Let's start. I'm going to invite you to take a moment to relax, to take a few deep breaths in and out, and in and out, and in and out, slowly. Perhaps you're sitting, perhaps you're lying down. You might want to get into a space that's more comfortable. Enjoy this in whatever way resonates with you. This is the invitation. It's the invitation, especially when things are stressful, to be still and to breathe in and out. It may be that you want the words to just wash over you, or you might want to take every single word in, consume it very deeply. It's probably best that you sit with this with an open mind and that you let the words just seep in. Let it just seep into your beingness so that you can really enjoy it. This book, this talk right now, is really for your heart. Although bits of it will be interpreted by your head, and that may be part of the challenge. You're probably listening to this because you're at a point in your life where you're wanting to be more authentically yourself. You may be at a point where you're lacking a sense of direction, or that you believe that you need it. There may be some changes that have been forced upon you. You may have some concerns or issues about your health, your career, or problems you're facing in business, or challenges within your relationship. All these things, whilst they appear to be, well, they can appear to be very different, actually link to the same thing. They all link and relate to how you respond to self and your world. People who seem to be the most well-adjusted tend to be those people who have a particular kind of relationship with life, and that's what we're looking at here. So what is the gift of inner success? What is this gift of inner happiness? You know it and you've seen it. You'll know people in your own life who have this gift. They may not be rich, although they might be. They may not be very successful in conventional terms. In fact, they may appear to possess very little in material terms. But they are people who are very incredibly centered. They're always smiling, they always have warmth, whatever their personal experience is. And they will have an experience that, whatever the trials and the heartaches that they've been through, and sometimes they'll have been through more heartaches, yet somehow they remain balanced, calm, at peace with themselves, at peace with life itself. What is it? What is it that's in their spirit? What is it in their approach that helps them to be so connected to themselves? When you distill what most people want in life, it usually comes down to a few simple things. And those couple of things tend to relate to the fundamentals of life. I remember once sat with my best friend who does some work in this area of helping people to become themselves. And we sat down wondering, and you might remember very clearly from the previous invitation when I talked about the mind, body, spirit of seeing. Many, many years ago, we found ourselves on this journey. And so I remember we sat down and we wondered, what is at the heart of all these things that people wrestle with? And so we sat there and we looked at our lives, and we looked at everything we knew and everything we assumed that we knew about life and the world. And we came to the realization that we knew nothing. We spent about 20 hours sat speaking and turning every stone, thinking about all the things we thought we knew, looking at did we know them authentically from ourselves. We realized that we knew nothing. We knew none of this firsthand. We didn't know anything firsthand for ourselves. Everything we knew, we'd learned or was assimilated. So if you cast your mind back as early as you can remember, you're not likely to have many thoughts running around your head. You'll be noticing a few simple shapes and colours, and you'd have some very vague memories. Perhaps as you move forward and advance in years, you'll have pictures in your mind of your mum, your dad, being out in the park, being at home, running around, whatever it might well be. But all these things, all the names, all the label, that's a tree, that's the sky, and so on, all these things have been labelled for us later on. So when I sat back with my friend some years ago, and we looked at everything we believed and everything that we thought we knew, we realised that at first we were simply a blank piece of paper, a blank canvas with huge potential. And that is, of course, what we were as babies. That the complicated stuff happens below the level of our conscious awareness. So we breathe naturally. The brain helps us to regulate the body and all the complex things in our body. If you ever asked an expert in anatomy, they'd tell you that we are very complex mechanisms. But all these complexities, all the biomechanics, we don't have anything to do with. In fact, if you try and think about them, you'll often run into trouble. For example, if you start to think about breathing, you suddenly find yourself short of breath. So all the complicated things in life actually happen below our everyday level of consciousness. On that level, we really know little about our bodies, the shells in which we exist. Similarly, when we look externally into the world, most of the ideas, in fact all of your ideas, you will have picked up bit by bit, stage by stage. So early on you're told you're a boy, you're a girl, you're good, you're bad, you're bright, you're smart, you're not so smart, you're fat, you're thin. Bit by bit you are fed these ideas and then you pick them up. Gradually then they become assimilated with other ideas, and thus you develop more complex ideas about the world. And then later on you pick up political ideas, other ideas. Over time you learn these labels and you think that these ideas are your own. Over time you settle with this assimilated idea of who you are and you call it yourself. So I sat there with my friend and we looked at all of this and we realised that we didn't know anything firsthand. Everything had been fed to us and assimilated. Again, you can look at this for yourself. Don't take my word for it. Do not take another second-hand idea. Take a look at it yourself. Right now, take yourself back as early as you can, remember, and see if you can notice what it is that you're thinking. What it is that you're feeling. The chances are that you won't be thinking much. If there were any ideas or feelings, see if you can go even further back. The chances are that as you do this, you'll be feeling much, much lighter because there's an absence of content And this is the space that we want to be in. Be mindful that we started off far more as an empty glass than we did a full one. But the potential is there. The potential is there inherent within a baby. And the potential is there within the seed. This takes us to the root of inner success because, of course, it's a seed, it's the potential. But what happens in life is that things become complicated. And rather than being sat in our hearts, we tend to be caught up in our mind. And the mind is, by its nature, conditioned. So what we need to do here is to go back to the heart, to be centered in order to make sense of the world, in order to bring heart, head and heart into harmony. And that's precisely what you're going to do. I invite you to sit back and remember that we know nothing.